Welcome to the Fearful Fright series, where we will be reading with our favorite green ghoul, Grimmer. Now sit back and enjoy this twisted tale. Today our story is called Helltown, Ohio. Helltown, Ohio wasn't officially called Helltown. The road signs still said Boston Township, but no one used that name anymore. The old name stuck because it felt right. The air there was wrong, too heavy, too still, and the woods pressed in close, swallowing houses whole. Yellow warning signs leaned crookedly from rusted posts, their lettering faded but still readable. No trespassing. Environmental hazard. 17-year-old Evan Mercer stepped over one of the signs like it didn't matter. His boots crunched on broken glass and dead leaves. The houses nearby stood frozen in time, doors hanging open, children's bikes half sunk into dirt, curtains still fluttering behind shattered windows as if someone had just left and never come back. Behind him, Caleb Rowe hesitated. "You ever notice," he said quietly, "how there are no birds here?" Evan didn't turn around. People evacuated. Animals followed. That's not how nature works. The woods were silent. No insects. No wind. Just the faint hum of something deep underground, low enough that Evan felt it more than heard it, like a distant engine idling beneath the soil. Evan stopped at the edge of a narrow trail barely visible through the brush. The ground looked disturbed, sunken in places, like the earth had been dug up and clumsily stitched back together decades ago. "This is it," Evan said. Caleb frowned. "This doesn't look like a hiking trail." "It's not. I found an old government map online. It was taken down an hour later." "That's reassuring," Caleb muttered. They pushed through the brush until the ground dropped away sharply. Half-buried concrete slabs lay scattered like tombstones, stamped with a faded government seal. Beneath them yawned a dark opening in the earth. Cold air rushed out, carrying a smell that made Caleb gag. It smelled sweet and rotten at the same time. Chemical. Wrong. "You smell that?" Caleb asked. Evan nodded, shining his flashlight down into the hole. The light caught on rusted metal supports lining the walls. This wasn't a natural cave. It was carved, reinforced, and sealed once, badly. Written on the concrete near the entrance, scratched in frantic handwriting, were words that made Evan's stomach tighten. "We tried to bury it. It didn't die." They climbed down. The deeper they went, the warmer the air became. Moisture dripped from the ceiling, splashing onto the ground in thick drops that glowed faintly green before fading into darkness. The walls were stained black and yellow, marked with old radiation symbols partially scratched away like someone had tried to erase them by hand. Something scuttled across the floor. Caleb jumped. What was that? Evan swung his flashlight just in time to catch a rat disappearing into a crack in the wall. It was bigger than any rat Evan had ever seen, its back hunched unnaturally, patches of its fur missing to reveal blistered, raw skin beneath. One of its eyes bulged outward, cloudy and leaking a glowing fluid. The rat stopped and looked back at them. Its teeth clicked together rapidly, foam dripping from its mouth. Then it ran. Caleb exhaled shakily. "Okay. That's not normal." They continued forward until the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. Evan stopped dead. Steel barrels were stacked against the walls, dozens of them, rusted and split open. Thick sludge pooled across the floor, glowing softly like sickly moonlight. Steam rose from it in slow, lazy coils. The sludge was moving. Tiny shapes writhed inside it, worms, insects, leech-like things that crawled over one another and disappeared into cracks in the stone. Some climbed the walls. Others burrowed into dead animals scattered around the chamber, raccoons, birds, even a deer carcass bloated and split open from the inside. A squealing sound echoed from deeper in the cave. Then another. Caleb grabbed Evan's arm. "We need to leave. Now." They turned to run. The rat launched itself out of the darkness. It slammed into Caleb's arm, teeth sinking deep. Caleb screamed, trying to shake it off. Evan grabbed a piece of broken metal and swung hard, crushing the rat's skull against the wall. The body hit the ground and twitched. Then it began to change. Bones cracked loudly as the rat's spine bent backward. Its chest swelled, skin splitting as muscle bulged outward. The jaw stretched open impossibly wide, teeth rearranging themselves with wet snapping sounds. Evan stumbled back in horror. The rat collapsed, and then burst open. From inside its ruined body poured dozens of swollen parasites, glowing faintly green, skittering across the floor and vanishing into the shadows. Caleb clutched his arm, sobbing. The bite wound was already turning black, veins around it glowing faintly beneath his skin. "Evan," he whispered, "it burns." They ran. When they reached the surface, the woods exploded with noise. Animals emerged from the trees, deer dragging twisted legs behind them, raccoons with too many eyes, dogs with split jaws and glowing mouths. Insects swarmed around them, crawling into wounds, mouths, and eyes. Then Evan saw the people. They stepped out from abandoned houses, their bodies sagging and misshapen, skin glowing faintly beneath torn clothing. Some wore faded jeans and jackets. Others wore hospital gowns. One still had a sheriff's badge pinned to his chest. They didn't stumble aimlessly. They moved together. One of them spoke. "You opened it again." Evan froze. "They're talking." A man with half his face melted away stepped forward. "The small ones bite the big ones," he said calmly. "The big ones carry it further." Caleb screamed as his arm convulsed violently. Something moved beneath the skin, crawling upward toward his shoulder. "I don't want this," Caleb cried. "I can hear them. They're telling me to share." Evan dragged him into an old schoolhouse and slammed the door shut. The chalkboard still read evacuation drill in fading white letters. Caleb collapsed, screaming as his body twisted. His jaw cracked loudly, stretching wider than it should. His spine arched. Insects poured from the bite wound and disappeared back inside him. Then he went still. Slowly, Caleb looked up. His eyes glowed green. "It doesn't hurt anymore," he said softly. Evan backed away, tears streaming down his face. "Caleb, please." Caleb smiled. It wasn't his smile anymore. Outside, the town stirred. The ground vibrated faintly beneath Evan's feet, like something massive breathing deep underground. Evan ran toward the church at the center of town, where lights flickered behind boarded windows. Inside were people in hazmat suits, soldiers, scientists, survivors who looked exhausted and terrified. A woman removed her helmet. "You shouldn't have come here." "What is this place?" Evan screamed. She hesitated. "A containment failure. The waste didn't just poison life. It changed it. Created something that learns, remembers." A voice echoed outside. "Evan." Caleb stood in the doorway, taller now, skin glowing from within. Insects crawled in and out of his mouth like living smoke. "You don't have to be alone anymore," Caleb said gently. The survivors raised their weapons. Evan stepped forward. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Caleb's smile widened. And Helltown breathed again. Years later, the area would be sealed once more. New fences, new warnings. But people still disappear. And sometimes, deep in the woods of Ohio, a boy's voice calls softly from beneath the earth. "Come see what we found." Because hell didn't open in Helltown. It was buried there. And it's still spreading.